All right. Well, switching topics to the focus of this conversation. At some point along the way, you started a project that has now become NewOrleansMusicians.com.
Yeah,
Tell me where that started.
man, it was a long time ago. A friend of mine told me that he found someone that was selling a website, but that he lost touch with him, and he was just kind of venting to me, I guess, or I don't even know if he was posing the question. But long story short, he lost touch with the guy that was selling it. He described him to me. I realized that I was good friends with the guy. I just didn't know that about him, and reconnected them on the agreement that I would be included. So apparently, the site was originally NewOrleansBands.net, and it was built by the person who founded it, Daniel Carone, and he made it. It was kind of like a chat forum, and it networked bands, and it was I guess simple in nature or direct to the point, but simple in nature. But it became fairly large. I mean, he saw to it that over 300 bands were onboarded, and at one time it was used as a messaging forum for people that were in bands but displaced by Hurricane Katrina because anything that was down here was gone, and his hosting happened to be out of town. So it stayed online, but that's how it got started. And through a series of negotiations, I ended up owning the website outright, and I took it from there, redesigned it, and took it from there.
And how many years now? Have you run it yourself?
Oh man. Well, so okay, let's back it up 1 second. I, after bringing those two guys together and talking to the guy that founded it and started it, Daniel, um, I thought that everything was in order, but with me working offshore, and I guess him a little bit of trepidation on his part, um, lost touch. We couldn't get in touch with him again, and we thought he got cold feet. But I loved the idea so much that I started drawing the whole website because I'd go out for a month at a time. So I drew the whole website, every screen you would see in a notebook. And if the screen had 5 links, I would label them A1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you'd go look it up in the back, and I would have a page for that. Like I just redesigned in my mind what I thought it could be. Um, I eventually got back in touch with him, the purchase was made, et cetera, et cetera. But when I took this design to a website, I believe that at first, well, it doesn't matter. I took it to a web firm to get the website made, and was basically defrauded out of like at least $5,000.
Hmm.
It got to be ridiculous. I would go to meet with them, and they would show me mock-ups, and you can make a mock-up work just like you can make an Excel spreadsheet work. But that doesn't mean it's an online entity, and it doesn't mean that it's going to receive and or disseminate information, online. So um, it got bad. One of the excuses I was given was um, the programmer barricaded himself in his house with the contents of my website on disk. I wonder if I still have that email. It got bad. And I don't know if it was because I was young and they figured they could get over on me, or if it was because, which I didn't know at the time, they didn't have any in house programmers. They subbed out all their work. So they were just a go between. And it was a guy that liked to go schmooze and rub elbows with upper echelon. They had big clients like Shell, you know, but I think he was more of a mixer than than a programmer or any technical aspect. So that went to shit. Put it down for a while because I'm financing this all myself. I'm living in a 1 bedroom apartment, working on the deck. I got a few bucks, but not a whole lot. and put it down for a little while, 2, 3 years, and then tried again with another firm from out of town in Kentucky, I believe it was, and I flew out there to meet them, and it just went to shit again. They just kind of put me on the back burner, and I don't know again if it was my age or just novice in the field, or if I expected too much, or I don't know. I felt like I held up my end because I came up front with the expectations and I knew what it would cost. So I made sure I had the money ready, you know. But again, it got put on the back burner. And after that, I shelved it for years. I was pissed. I was like, this is never going to happen. I'm out like, I don't even know, $8,000, $10,000, whatever the tally was, you know. So it's been a long time coming, is what I'm trying to get at. And I could tell you when it all started roughly, but it's on and off throughout the years up until this point, basically, you know.
And what triggered your commitment to it more recently, and how when was that when you dove back in?
The beginning of 21, 2021. I had up until that point maintained ownership of several domains. Um, at that point, I had changed the name to NewOrleansMusicians.net, only because I couldn't score .com, but I changed it to New Orleans Musicians because it was redesigned in my mind, and partially on online, and it just kind of, I wanted it to be something different, um, more encompassing, I suppose. But anyway, I had maintained the domains and kept adding to it, and I think to date I have 23 domains that all lead to it, and they're all germane names. Like you got the NewOrleansBands.net, the original NewOrleansBands.com, NewOrleansMusicians.net.com. If I could get a .org, I would, throw all of this stuff in together. So I kept all of those things, and my wife is like, "You got to shit or get off the pot. Like, you're keeping this alive in your mind only, you know." And I guess it was out of discouragement or whatever had happened in the past, but I also knew the amount of money and time and headache and intricacies that are involved in dealing with something of this magnitude. So I'd kind of left it on the back burner because starting a family and buying a house and a new vehicle and, getting some property and, all those things take up your money as well. So it's just been a long time coming. After she started mentioning that, I believe middle of 21, I started looking for a programmer. Late in 21, hired a programmer. Then all through the rest of, let's say, the last quarter of 21 and all of 22, worked with a programmer to get it to what it is now. And what it is now, I think I definitely shouldn't be in charge of any more features because I have more than my hands full. But I really feel like it serves a big purpose. Marketing and things of that nature, those are super expensive black holes, man. You could throw $50 in and then cross your fingers and hope you get $50 worth of whatever, traffic, whatever it is you were shooting for. But it's never guaranteed. Seldom happens. You work on percentages, and it's very expensive. So I try a lot of grassroots marketing, so I realize it's going to be slow going, but I think by the hardest, I've built something that encompasses a lot of Louisiana's music scene because I've opened it to anybody, any resident of the state. I think New Orleans is the hub for Louisiana music. Um, but I want to welcome everyone in the state.
How big is the website now, and do you generate money from it?
Like big in terms of what metric?
How many users? How many registered users? How many bands? How many?
Yeah.
What is it? Just a community forum still for bands, or what else is it?
Okay, so everybody gets a profile, and I try to treat bands like businesses. I want them to set up their profile and lay out a professional bio. Any music or videos they upload will be on that bio. Their contact information, if they're under management, label, all those stats that are relative to music business. And I want it to be for the promotion of music business. I don't want it to be social like a Facebook or anything like that. So there's no accommodations for that. It's not really a forum per se. So all bands that are from Louisiana get that. There's also a directory for vendors, which are supporting services for bands, which is A&Rs, bus charters, sound and light companies, venues, anybody that provides lodging, hotels, B&Bs. There's a directory for bands to use to be able to kind of do for themselves. I want bands to see it as a utility for business. And in the meantime, there's a few other things that other people like fans might find interesting. There's a page with streaming music by genre. So if you want to hear just local rock or just local jazz or just local reggae, then you can go there and stream that. Same with the videos. You can go check out videos, and it'll be everything from me interviewing musicians or recording studio owners, to music videos, to coming soon. I got a guy putting up instructional videos on his instrument applications, things of that nature. Anything that I can be involved with that shows more of the same and a different side of music in Louisiana, the personal side, etc.
How many profiles are you hosting right now?
I think last I counted, there were 67. It's mostly bands. It's a few recording studios. There's a guy that's an opera house owner. There's a travel agent. There's a bunch of different characters on there, and the traffic. I monitor all the stats to see how it's doing, and it's kind of run the gamut. Some months it's up over 800 users. Other months I've seen it as low as 500. It'll vary. And we launched at the beginning of 2022, kind of simultaneously working out any bugs that we could find while we watched it actually get used. And I've spent most of 22 refining it and adding to it.
What's any plans to grow it further, or what's the big dream? What's the realization of the project for you?
Right. Well, I'm just trying to keep it in steps, I suppose, one step at a time. Right now, I just want to onboard as many bands as possible. I'd like to see between 300 and 400 bands on there. And I kind of chose that number arbitrarily, but I was sitting down with a marketer earlier this year, and after reviewing my site, he said, I can't take your money because I can't take your site and market it to. I wanted him to fill the vendor directory. I was like, look, I'm going to take care of the bands. I want you to take care of onboarding venues and A&Rs, things of that nature. Market to these guys. And he's like, I can't take your money because you don't have the bands on there yet. I'm like, well, we just opened for business, so to speak. I'm working on that. And he's like, well, if you wanted to look through a directory of musicians to book people for a show, how big of a directory do you think would be a decent sized directory that you would find a valuable resource? And I was like, I don't know, 300 or 400 bands. He's like, well, look, get 300 or 400 bands, and then you'll be giving me, even by your own standard, something to market to these vendors. I was like, man, he's right. And he didn't take my money. And I'll go see him. I was like, that's all I'm going to try to do this year. You know, I've battled some technical difficulties, growing pains, if you will, with a site of this size, and just kind of muscling through that and still trying to onboard people one at a time if it takes it, you know. Sometimes it'll come in waves, and then other times it's crickets for a while. You never know. But the ultimate goal, I suppose, is quite simply, I want it to be the source for music in Louisiana. If enough bands join, then all the other eyes will be on the site. Your supporting services will come because it'll be a resource for them, you know, to market to market their own wares, if you will. You know, I sell this service, I sell that service. That's fine. You know, this is our demographic, Louisiana musicians. You know, and then things like Hollywood South become relevant. And maybe through that, if I can bring everybody to the table, then I can help a ton of people. It's like I'm building my own black book, but everybody's privy to it. You know what I mean? And if I can help a band book a tour, or if I can line up a director with a band for some music, which I've helped people do these things, but this is what I want the site to do. And I want people to recognize it as a reliable brand, a trustworthy brand, and a resource, you know. And it comes in numbers. If people all get together, then it becomes the one spot, and it'll always be free, you know.
Well, I'm new to this podcast game, but numbers are the name of the game here too. All right, so we have your wife to thank to some degree for kickstarting this project.
Kickstarting the project, making sure I stay alive, all those things. Yep.
Tell me where y'all met.
Funny enough, I met her while I was working offshore on a dating website, which I was convinced was a stupid concept. To me, I felt like when they first introduced dating websites, I felt like those are for people that can't go to a bar and hook up with a chick, you know? But it became interesting to me because I realized I'm gone for a month. We can get a whole lot of talking done in a month, you know? And I would use it as a way to make up for lost time, I guess, without having to be out every weekend and who knows where doing God knows what, running into whoever you ran into, you know? And, but yeah, so I met her on a dating website, and, that was that, man. She didn't talk to me. She didn't even say anything on my profile. She passed me by, and I saw she was there, and I was like, ooh, let me see who that is. It took me like 4 months of talking to her to get a date. But, I guess looking back, that was a quality, you know?
And how long until y'all got married?
2 years, man. We were seeing each other. Let's see, how long? It was a little over 2 years. She already had a child at the time, and I was just like playing the field, being a single guy. You know what I mean? I had like hardly any responsibilities. So I mean, I could see the writing on the wall, so to speak. The crowd was getting younger, that type of thing, you know. And I knew I wouldn't always be running the streets forever. And I'd heard about this thing called growing up, and I was like, well, maybe I'll give that a shot. And I definitely had to attract her attention, you know. So here I am, all grown up, Tim.
I'm watching it live. How about kids? I think I saw on Facebook last night you have a almost 7-year-old now.
Yes, he turned 7 this past Wednesday. What is it? Thursday. So yesterday, he turned 7. And like I said, she had one when I met her. And gosh, she'll kill me because I don't know his age now. He's like 20 now. He had a child, and he is in between jobs constantly, it seems. So now we have his infant. So I have a 7-year-old and a really tiny infant in the house, and takes up 120% of my time.
Grandpa grown up, huh?
Yeah, that I think is the most offensive part of all of this. Somebody says I'm a grandfather now, and I'm like, I don't feel grandfatherish. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, what else do you have going on in your life, man?
Honestly, that's it. I try and carve out a little time for myself. Um, I've been building a 76 Chevy for, it seems like forever now. Ida came through and crushed half of it, and I had to start over with that. And I'm close, and I've decided in my mind that I'll delegate some of the duties elsewhere because I just don't have the time. But I just want to make sure I build the power plant, and I'll be good with that. So I really, whenever I can, I try to find time to do that. And I love writing music, man, and creating stuff. All this website stuff for me means it's a lot, Tim. It's 2 podcasts a month, at least 4 videos a month, 2 articles a month, and that's just what gets published. Um, with every person I interview, I usually interview 2 to 3 people a month, so I have to fit that in the 10 days that I'm home. But each person generates an article, a podcast, and 5 to 10, roughly, YouTube videos, all edited and with graphics and new thumbnails, all these things. So I've kind of adhered to that schedule as much as I could. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, it is. What instruments do you play?
I play the keyboard and I play a little bass guitar, and I work on digital audio workstation. So a little bit of everything, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like you don't need to be kept busy, my friend.
No.
So look, man, I appreciate your time. Go get back to it, get some rest, do whatever it is you're doing, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, man. Thanks a lot.